welcome back to me because we haven't seen each other in a new video in almost a year. I think it's been almost a year since I posted a video, but I'm back and today I'm going to show you a DIY super fun that I think you will love, especially if you're a Disney lover.
Don't you just love Minnie Mouse's outfit? I do. It's adorable.
So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can make a skirt just like mine. Well, really, a skirt just like Minnie Mouse's skirt. That way we can all match. So these are the things that you're going to need.
So we're going to need some white fabric for the base of our skirt and some tulle or any other kind of transparent fabric for the top. And I used about 1.5 yards of both, and I had some leftovers. Also, elastic for our waistband. You want it to be maybe 1.5 or 2 inches wide, and you need enough to go around your waist. We're also going to need some pom-poms. More pom-poms. Even more than that if you can. And you want them to be in many different colors, just like big fuzzy confettis. I use some big ones like this. These fuzzy ones I purchased. These other ones I made. And I was planning on making a lot of them, but they take some time. So if you can make them, it will be better. But if you can find them for cheap, that will be the best. You also want some tiny baby ones like this one that we're going to glue all over the skirt. This is a sewing project that you can probably do by hand, but it's a lot of sewing, so it's better if you use a sewing machine. Before we start cutting or sewing the fabric, we need to make a pattern. And for that, we need to do a little bit of math, but it's super easy, trust me. And you're gonna measure your waist, the circumference of your waist, and the length of your skirt, however short or long you wanna make it. I measure my waist and it measures 26 inches. And to your measurement, you're gonna add 2 more inches because we need more room so it goes over our hips. Then measurement for the length number 1 is the true length of your skirt. Mine is 17 inches. And for skirt number 2, or the transparent one, you wanna make it a little longer. I exaggerated a lot here. You only need to add maybe 1 or 1.5 inches. Don't add too much like I did. So we're gonna cut the fabric like this. It's gonna look like a huge donut. And the math we're gonna do is to help us find the radius of our waist. It's impossible to measure it, but we can find it. So if this is our waist, this is the radius. And that is what we're gonna find. That way we can make the pattern and cut a perfect circle. So the math formula that we're going to use for this is radius equals circumference over 2 pi, which it sounds way easier if you say like radius is equal to my waist divided by 6.28. And this is so easy, you can just use a calculator to do it. So plug in the measurement of your waist plus 2 inches divided by 6.28. So I get almost 5, so I'm just going to use 5. So 5 is my number. You're going to take your number and add it to both of your lengths. So for me is 17 plus 5 and 21 plus 5. So remember that we're basically going to do 2 circle skirts. That's why we have number 1 and number 2. Number 2 is the transparent skirt with the tulle, and that one is going to be just a little longer than the white one. So to make our pattern, just take a few pieces of paper and tape them all together. So you have one big piece of paper. Now on one of the sides of your new big piece of paper, you're going to measure 5. Well, I'm going to measure 5 inches. You're going to measure your magic number. And you're going to start moving the measuring tape to make a little arch. You're going to measure from the corner all the way to the other side of that paper, measuring your magic number all the way through. And now that we have a bunch of little markings, we just have to connect the dots. And this arch is 1/4 of your big circle that's going to go right on your waist. Now we're going to do the same thing on the same side of the paper, but you're going to measure longer. You're going to measure the length. So we're going to start with skirt number 1. So I'm going to measure here 22 all the way to the other side of the page. You're going to measure the length of your base skirt number 1, plus your magic number. Again, we'll connect the dots, and this time will be a much bigger fourth of a circle. Once you have that, then we're ready to cut. And our pattern is ready. If you want to, you can make a second one using the length of skirt number 2. Now on your pattern, you want to write where the fold of the fabric is going to go. And it's going to be in 2 places, and I'm marking them here right now so you can see where it will be. These are the patterns that I made, and you can see how much longer is skirt number 2 compared to number 1. And like I told you earlier, I exaggerated way too much. You don't need it to be that much longer, only maybe 1 inch or 1.5 inches. And now that we have our patterns, we can cut the fabric. So this is how the fabric comes from the store. It comes folded in 2, folded in half on the long side. I'm going to turn the light off so you can see better because everything is white. So you have 1 big fold here. So what we're going to do is fold it again. That way we have 2 folds on one side and 1 big fold on the other. So now we'll place our pattern on top, matching the fold labels with the folds, and we'll cut the fabric. You're going to do this for both the white fabric and the transparent. Remember, the transparent one is a little longer. So now that we've cut the fabric, I'll show you how a circle skirt works. So when you hold it from the inside circle and you make it straight, there's your skirt. Ta-da! Now we're going to place the sheer fabric on top of the white fabric, and we're going to match the inner circles so they align perfectly. They should be the same size, so just put them right on top of the other. I'm going to hold them with clips so they don't move around. And now we're going to move to the outer edge of the circle, that big circle, and we're going to match those ends together. And again, we're going to hold them in place, but this time I'm going to use pins. And now we're going to move to the opposite side of the fabric, and we're going to place another pin directly across from the first one. Then you'll move to the top and do the same, then pin the bottom until you have pins all around your circle. Because the transparent fabric is a much bigger circle, we're going to have extra fabric between each pin, and that is exactly how we want it. So now that we're ready to sew, we're going to have the white fabric laying flat, and the transparent fabric is going to be all ruffly on top of it with that extra fabric. So we're going to grab the transparent fabric, pinch it, fold it on top of the white one, and sew it just like that. So we're going to make little folds, and that is going to make our skirt really fluffy, like a real bubble skirt. Once you're finished sewing the outer edge of your big circle, it's going to look something like this. So now we're going to turn it around so you have the stitching in the inside. So from the inner circle, you're just going to take the white fabric and pull it through. Kind of separate the white fabric on one side and the transparent fabric on the other. And then just grab the stitching and make it flat again. And now it's time to bring on the pom-poms. So we're going to start using the little ones, and we're going to just glue them right on top of the white fabric underneath the transparent one. And you're just gonna glue them all over the skirt, as many or as few pom-poms as you want. And for these, I used a hot glue gun. And this is how it looks so far. It looks really nice, but it's not finished yet. We need to now bring the big pom-poms, and for me, I just drop them inside of the skirt between both pieces of fabric. I just let them roam around freely and happily. If you want to, you can glue them in place as well, but I didn't, and the more pom-poms, the better. And it's looking really nice, almost as fun as the Minnie Mouse's skirt. But we're not finished yet. We have to place the elastic right there. Because we made the transparent circle skirt longer than the white, we're gonna have something that looks like this. So all you need to do is pull the transparent fabric up a little bit. That way it looks fluffy and nice, and then you're gonna pin it in place. And remember to follow the same pin placement pattern as before. Once you have the pins all around it, you're going to bring the project over to the sewing machine to close it, attaching both fabrics together. So for the elastic, you're just going to align the edges and sew them in place to make a ring. And just make sure the ring is a good size to go on your waist or on your hips. You want it to be comfortable, but you don't want it to fall off. The waist opening on your skirt is bigger than your elastic because remember that we added 2 inches. But this is how we want it because we want the fabric to gather around the elastic. That will make it a little more bouncier and fluffy. So again, following the same pin placement pattern, we're going to pin the elastic onto the inner circle of the skirt. Now the final step, and we're finished, attaching the elastic. On the sewing machine, we're going to select a zigzag stitch because it's a stitch that is not going to snap. It will stretch with your elastic. And how we're going to do this is you want to pull and stretch the elastic as you sew. We're going to go in small sections from pin to pin, stretching as we go. And that's it. I think it looks great. Let's see what Minnie Mouse thinks.
Yes.
Can I take a picture?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys look great.
Thank you.